Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami.
can learn a lot about the people who inhabited them before our time. And through modern day research on psychology and the environment, we are coming to understand the effects of architecture on people and places in entirely new ways. On that reflective note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the Lagos Architect Forum 12.0. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. Doing this for the 12th time, it's not easy at all. So the executives and everyone, the local organizing committee, all deserve another big round of applause for this remarkable feat. The theme of this year's forum is, as we have it all over our stage, the city of Lagos, the next 25 years. My name is Tony Usidamen, and I will be your host for today. My job is very, very easy, which is simply that of the biblical John the Baptist, to make way for great people that are coming after me, because I'm not even good enough to untie the laces of the shoes of the great men and women that will be speaking to us today and over the course of the next 4 days. We want to quickly go to the program, start by recognizing a few of the dignitaries among us. All of us actually are dignitaries, but we'll recognize some people. I'll start with our royal father of the day, His Majesty, the Oniru of Iruland, Oba Abdulwasiu, Omogbolahan, Lawal, Abisogun II. He is the Oniru of Iruland. Kábíyèsí o, and will respond, Kábíyèsí. Thank you very much, Your Majesty, and thank you for honoring us. I'd like to recognize our chief host for today in the person of the National President of the Nigerian Institute of Architecture, Architect Sonny T. Echono, who is not here right now, but has representing him the incoming National President of the Nigerian Institute of Architecture, in the person of Architect Enyi Ben-Eboh, FNIA. A round of applause for him, please. I'd also like to recognize our host for today, the chairman of the Lagos State chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, in the person of Architect David Majekodunmi. A round of applause for our host. Along with our host, I recognize all the chapter executives present, all the national executives also present. You are recognized and acknowledged. On to the next person. I would like to recognize the President, National Institute of Town Planners, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde, FNITP. A round of applause. I understand she's joining us virtually. Yes, a round of applause. Next on the list is the President of the Nigerian Institute of Building, Builder Kunle Awobodu, FNIDB. A round of applause for him. Next is the President of the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, Surveyor Akinloye Olufemi, FNIS, PPNIS. A round of applause, please. I'd also like to recognize all the Lagos State chapter chairmen of allied professionals that are here with us today. Thank you for honoring our invite. A round of applause for all of them. I understand there are other people joining us also here. We'll recognize them in the course of the program. I would also like to recognize the second Vice President, Nigerian Institute of Architects, Architect Mobolaji Adeniyi, FNIA. Welcome, ma'am. Moving on quickly, I would like at this juncture to invite our host for today, the Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Architects, Lagos State Chapter, Architect David Majekodunmi, to present his welcome address. A round of applause for him as he comes. And while he comes, please, Eventecture, get ready for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, apologies first, the program is yet to arrive. And apologies for not going through the right protocol where our officers need to be recognized. On this note, I want to recognize my Egbon, who should have been recognized earlier, because without him, I'm afraid my license might be withdrawn after this event. So for him not to withdraw my license, my dear Egmosa, Architect Dipo Ajayi, that's the president of Architects Registration Council of Nigeria. You're very welcome, sir. And before I go on to my speech, I'd like to recognize some of our elders, not only elders, a past president of the Institute, and the first lady, or the first female president of the Institute, whom we refer to as Momo. She happens to be my tutor, and she still remains to be my mama. And that's in the person of Architect Bukola Ejiwomi, FNIA, PPNIA. Please pardon my MC. He's not an architect, but we've been grooming him for the past 2 hours. But, you know, he's yet to get the tutelage. The chairman for the session today, who is also my mentor, whom I've been training under him from 1981 or 82. That is in the person of Architect Roti Delano. FNI, you're welcome, sir. Is the chairman of the session today. And also another Egbon, who is one of our speakers today. That is in the person of Architect Hugh Lawson. FNI, you're welcome. Is one of our speakers today. The former AGS, Architect Abimbola Ajayi, FNIA. My immediate past chairman, whom I took the baton from, I call him Double Chair. He's also the chairman of the Library and Publication of the Nigerian Institute of Architects. That's in the person of Architect Fitzgerald Umar. Yeah, another national executive officer here, who was the former vice chairman of the chapter. That's in the person, he's an ex-official of the institute. That's in the person of Architect Adeoti, FNI, you're welcome, and thanks for your support always. And for all the fellows here, the likes of Architect Sokari George, you've been very supportive. The Dean of School of Architecture, University of Lagos, Professor Adebamowo, you're welcome, sir. Likewise, the likes of Architect Dr. Fakolade, you're welcome, sir. Now, I go on to my address, and in the absence of recognition of my elders, our fellows, I would like to start my address. Now, you can find my address on page 34 to 36 of the program. Your Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, whom we're still waiting for, because in order to meet up the time, I had to give him a certain time, and I just thought we'll keep the ball rolling. I don't want him to come and then all the itches we're having, so please pardon me. Your Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, and his cabinet members, you're welcome. I'd like to recognize one of his cabinet members who is another mentor and Egmo to me. That's in the person of Engineer Fan. That's the Commissioner for Science and Technology. You are recognized, sir. The President of Nigerian Institute of Architects, Architect Sonny Echono, FNIA, ably represented by the President-elect, the first Vice President, Architect Enyi Ben-Eboh, FNIA, distinguished speakers, esteemed colleagues, partners, sponsors, exhibitors, students, press and media partners, and our visitors. It is with great delight and deep sense of honor to warmly welcome you to the opening ceremony and subsequent events of the Lagos Architects Forum 2021, tagged LAV 12.0. The 12th in its series, the auspicious flagship event of the chapter is a hybrid that will span the next 3 days with a lineup of interesting, informative, and impactful activities that participants can attend both physically and virtually. We particularly wish to acknowledge His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, and his entire cabinet, ministries, agencies, and parastatals for their relentless effort in the transformation of the state through the themes agenda being the driving force of development activities in Lagos State. We commend you for your efforts so far, and we wish you greater success in achieving your goals, especially in areas regarding the built environment. This will generally impact the lives and livelihood of the people who live and transact business in Lagos State. Special recognition and appreciation are extended to our royal fathers who have graciously supported this edition of the Lagos Architects Forum. We reverently mention our royal fathers for each day. The first day is Royal Majesty Oba Abdulwasiu Omogbolahan Lawal Abisogun II, Oniru of Iruland, Kabiyesi. For the second day is Royal Majesty Oba Said Ademola Elegushi, the Elegushi of Ikate Elegushi Kingdom. And the third day is Royal Majesty Architect Femi Bello Odupetu of Akure Kingdom. On behalf of the executive committees and members of NIA Lagos State Chapter, I greet you, Kabiyesi, Ki Adekpe Lori, Ki Bata Belese. Participants who have been committed to supporting the LAF brand year in, year out since inception are also specially recognized, and those participating for the first time are warmly welcomed. Following successful collaboration since the inception of Lagos Architect Forum in 2009, started by Architect Abimbola Ajayi. Can you stand up for recognition, please? We are glad to join hands once again to host a program targeted at renewing the processes and systems in which built environment activities are being conducted in the light of present-day realities. The annual flagship program, LAF 2021, is dedicated to engaging appropriate responses towards the future urban development of Lagos State in the next 25 years. Members of the Executive Council of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, as well as colleagues from other state chapters here present, are welcome and appreciated. Your continuous support in and out of season will be our collective pride as an institute, as a profession, and as professionals. We also acknowledge and welcome our professional colleagues from outside our shores, speakers, local and international, members of the allied professional bodies, and the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, APBN, without whose presence and active participation this event cannot be complete and indeed considered successfully. Our partners in progress, the indefatigable Nigerian press, we welcome and appreciate you for a wonderful relationship that has transacted our official interactions to a more intrinsic partnership in the course of bringing issues relating to the built environment to the forefront in our national discourse. LAF 20.0, LAF 12.0 12.0 is the first event I'm privileged to host as the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Architects Lagos State Chapter. We have a lineup of activities that we believe everyone present, physically or virtually, will benefit from in the areas of networking, economic opportunities, sharing of knowledge and experiences, amongst other things. The Lagos Architects Forums has become a refreshing, professional, and networking annual forum for stakeholders in the construction industry and built environment. It is also an annual event where architects come together and openly discuss current issues that affect the practice of the profession and solutions proffered. We have also benefited so much from the product and services displayed and the support given by the various manufacturers, building material suppliers, and financial institutions. This year, we are honored to have erudite and award-winning professionals as our speakers and panelists, among whom are Engineer Aramide Adeyoye, Special Advisor to Lagos State Governor on Works and Infrastructures, Pastor Itua Igodalo, a Senior Partner at CIAO Chartered Accountant, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde, the President of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Architect Yakub Armstrong, a Senior Partner at Fosters and Partners, Architect Theo Lawson, the Founding Partner at Total Consult, and the owner of Freedom Park, or joint partnership with Lagos State, Tosin Oshinowo, Principal Architect at CM Design Atelier, Stuart Davids, the CEO of ORPC, and Dr. Theophilus Shitu, a Senior Lecturer in Architectural Technology. The theme, the City of Lagos, the next 25 years, will examine crucial contemporary issues, life case studies of successful business models, projects. At the end of the event, a communique will be released on the future of Lagos as viewed by professionals. I hope that we'll have succeeded in achieving our advocacy role in sensitizing the various stakeholders in the built environment on steps and implementation strategies in achieving not just a mega city, but a sustainable, resilient, eco-friendly, and livable megacity that is also an international cultural metropolis. Furthermore, I hope that the need to step up in our commitment and involvement levels in activities to achieve the above will not need to be stated. Let us build on the inspiration from where the ocean meets the land. As it has become a tradition, the students of architecture in Lagos State are not left out in the numerous activities lineup. The students are hopes of the future of our profession, and they will be at the forefront of the construction industry in the next 25 years. Hence, this is a good reason to chart a vision for the future of Lagos built environment. This year, our student design competition and students' chariot is an ideas competition in line with the main theme, sponsored by our partners, Eventecture. Eventecture, can you be upstanding for recognition? Thank you very much for sponsoring the event for the student. The winners will have attractive prizes to take back home. As part of our efforts in further taking the LAV brand to the global community, we are privileged and honored to co-host this LAV 12.0 with the American Institute of Architects International Region, AIAIR, of which I happens to be the country rep, and I believe my second country rep, who is the Director of International Affairs, Architect Larry Olushola, should have been here by now. These opportunities will offer the AIAIR members the CES credits after attendance. And this is virtually online at the moment, of which we'll be getting a goodwill message live from the president of the AIA International Region. This is indeed another great feat, and we are thankful for the opportunity. As LAF 12.0 commences, I trust you will have a successful event and rewarding experience here. This should be a time for all of us to reflect on how we have treated our environment and think of how to make it sustainably better. We will be able to achieve a lot more than we can imagine if we work together as a team and work hand in hand in peace and harmony, despite an economically challenging year, especially in our industry. In conclusion, I wish to thank members of the Executive Committee of the NIA Lagos State Chapter and the LAF 2021 Organizing Committee for their tireless effort in working towards a successful world-class event. The time, effort, and resources spent cannot be quantified, and it is my prayer that your reward will be realized in multiple folds. Once again, I acknowledge you all for taking out your most precious time and busy schedules to be in attendance to grace this occasion. I thank you most sincerely for your support and the opportunity given to us to host a great and prestigious event such as this. I enjoin you to participate actively in the events lineup for the 3 days that will engender a sustainable and viable built environment in Lagos State and thus, by extension, Nigeria. I welcome you all and wish you fruitful deliberations. May God Almighty, in His infinite mercies, bless you abundantly. Let us join hands to move Lagos State forward. Ìtẹ̀síwájú Èkó ló jẹ wá lógún. Long live the Nigerian Institute of Architects. Long live the Nigerian Institute of Architects Lagos State Chapter. Long live Lagos State. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you. Yes. For events like this, there are some little omissions or little each. Someone who has been very helpful, someone who has made the heart to move, someone whom I paid a courtesy call to his boss, and in the interaction, I never knew that it was going to be made a PAMSEC the second or the 2 days after I made that courtesy call. Someone who has been instrumental for organizing this event, and not only either person or person, but also with his boss. They've tremendously helped us to make sure we have our special guest today. And I would like to recognize you, I call him the new kids on the block. He's the new PAMSEC on the block, which is just about 2 or 3 weeks older, and that's in the person of architect Adebayo Odusoya. Round of applause for him, please. Popularly called among us as Specs. Because for those who have worked with him, they'll tell you, specification, that's Specs. You must, so you're welcome, sir, and thank you very much for all what you've done to the success of this event. Thank you all. Please, before I hand over to the MC, please, we have to be COVID compliant. We are having the government marshals around, and one of the things said to us that we should not exceed 4 participants or 4 persons in each booth. So please, let's comply. Most especially, the governor will be here. The NIA Lagos State chapter should not be seen breaking rules. So please, let's go by that. When you see 4 people in a booth, please wait and let them leave before you join. And that will be after the opening ceremony by our governor. Also, I'd like to recognize someone whom I've always been having as support always, who is a wife to one of my big brother, and she's always been very supportive. And that's in the person of architect Abimbola Ogumbi, FNIA. Thank you very much for your support. These are the forums where we need to appreciate each other. And for all our partners, most especially Royal Ceramic. Oh, yes. Yes, I've just been noticed. Yeah, Royal Ceramic, thank you very much. Eventecture, you are great. Shaggy, as I properly call you, thank you very much. ACPL, thank you. JV Interiors and other prominent sponsors and exhibitors, thank you very much. And sorry once again for the omission, because this time around, it's one of the first time where we'll be having the president of the institute, whose wife is also an architect. And so more or less I refer to her as incoming First Lady, and that's in the person of architect Emanuela Ben-Eboh. Thank you for taking care of my brother. Thanks so much. Over to you, Mr. MC.
Please, another round of applause for the chairman, Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Architects.
Good morning, everyone. As you've already been told, I'm here representing the president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, who, though had wanted to be here in person, could not make it as a result of the exigencies of his office. So he has graciously asked me to stand in his place. The Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, whom we are still expecting, His Royal Highness, the Oba of Oniru, the President of the Architects Registration Council of Nigeria, our dear Dipo Ajayi, Architect Dipo Ajayi, FNIA, members of the Strategic Committee of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, and members of the ESCO of the Nigerian Institute of Architects here present, presidents of sister bodies also here present, fellows of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, members of the Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and of course, members of the press. I welcome you this morning to the opening ceremony of the 12th edition of the Lagos Architects Forum, tagged LAF 12.0. The Lagos State Chapter is one of the very active chapters in the Nigerian Institute of Architects. I dare say that just last year, the Nigerian Institute of Architects celebrated its 60th year of existence, having been birthed on the 1st of April, 1960. In these 60 years, the Nigerian Institute of Architects has grown from a membership of about 12 at the beginning to more than, I guess, 5,000 to 6,000 in various categories today. And we often say that our chapters are the nucleus of the institute. And when our chapters are strong, the institute is strong. And so we're quite happy when we see a chapter like Lagos State, or Lagos State chapter, blazing the trail in organizing events like this that puts the profession in the forefront of discourse as far as the built environment is concerned. I take some personal glory in the success of LAF because I often say that you never say you've succeeded until your successor has succeeded. And so I would say Bimbo Ajayi that I groomed became the person who birthed the Lagos Architects Forum. And the Lagos Architects Forum has been growing from strength to strength. Bimbo, thank you very much. Now, the Lagos Architects Forum is an annual event that seeks to put on the front burner the critical issues that affect not only architecture, but also the built environment. Over the last couple of weeks and days, I've seen the chapter has been in the news for various good items. First and foremost, the chapter spearheaded the issue of domestication of the building code. And of course, we all know that Nigeria as a country has been grappling with getting a code that binds and determines how the built environment is practiced and how development is carried out in Nigeria. As you all know, development control is in the concurrent list, and it is actually, as a matter of fact, it is domiciled in the state governments. And so most development you see around the country are often the responsibilities of the states. So it therefore behoves on each of the states to ensure that they have the building code domesticated to suit their peculiar needs in the various states and make sure they are enforceable, such that the issues that bedevil our built environment in the last couple of years, such as building collapses, such as the wrong people doing things that they should not be doing, and of course the issue of substandard materials will be put to rest permanently, and of course that will be to the benefit of everybody. Also, the Lagos State chapter has also been in the forefront of ensuring that Lagos becomes a more livable city in terms of the planning and execution of development plans and all that concerns development. We often used to joke that in Lagos, planning comes after development. In other words, people just move into an area, build houses, then they start thinking, oh, where would the roads pass, or where would the drainage go through? And at the end of the day, you discover somebody has built on a drainage path, or somebody has built where they should not build. But I'm happy that in the last couple of years, Lagos State as the physical planning issue of matters in Lagos State has been handled in a professional manner, and these items are beginning to be a thing of the past. And I hope this will be sustained going forward. And so, without taking so much of your time, I would want to congratulate the members of the Lagos State chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Architects for putting this together in spite of the economy. Sometimes I wonder how they were able to get this number of participants to come and exhibit products, because of course, you all know what's happening in the economy today. A lot of people are barely surviving. With the exchange rate, you discover that what you buy for 1 naira today becomes 2 naira tomorrow, then the next week is 3 naira and all of that. So it's something like walking uphill trying to put this together, and I want to commend all those who put this together. And I also want to commend all the participants in terms of the exhibitors who have braved the odds to come and exhibit their products here. And I hope that this partnership will continue to be sustained in the years to come. I'd also not want to end without appreciating Our Royal Highness, who has graciously made it to this event. When you have royal support, then you're sure that you don't have a problem. So we are very, very grateful. We don't take your presence here for granted. Thank you for coming. I'd also want to appreciate, though in absentia, but I understand he's coming very soon, the government of Lagos State. I'm sure you all will agree with me that once you have a buy-in by the governor of the state, who is the highest person in that government, most of what you're going to put across will be treated with dispatch. So, and I hear he's coming with a very, very large team, and their presence here will be an opportunity for not just the Lagos chapter, but the institute to put forward a number of requests. And they say, once he succeeds in Lagos, he succeeds everywhere else. So, my second vice is smiling at me. Don't worry. Once he succeeds in Ibadan too. So on that humorous note, I'd want to say thank you for all those who have been here. The Institute is going to grow from strength to strength. I know we've had challenges in the last couple of years, but I want to assure you that those challenges are gradually getting behind us. And we're going to continue to forge as a strong, united NIA, in spite of what had happened in the past. It is my earnest prayer that all the shenanigans that had taken place would be put behind us, and we would move from strength to strength and be one another's keeper. There's strength in togetherness, and in togetherness we would move mountains. Thank you very much, and please have a nice day.
The national president, ably represented by the incoming national president, Architect Sonny T. Echono, ably represented by Architect Enyi Ben-Eboh, FNIA. A round of applause, another round of applause for him, please. I understand we are being watched live on Zoom. In a few moments, we would be giving out the social media handles so that people who are not able to make it here can follow this event. Wherever you're watching from, this is still the Lagos Architect Forum 12.0.
20 odd years or so ago, a second-year student of the architectural school in the University of Lagos walked up to an established architect in search of an opportunity for internship. The older architect inquired as to what studio project he was currently working on. He went on to discuss the topic and then explain what his intended approach to solving the problem was. After about 3 minutes, the older architect gentleman looked him in the eye and said, "Young man, if you want to be a great designer, you have to forget everything you think you know. The key to great design is to think. Think outside the box." From then on, that became his #1 design philosophy. That young student of architecture is me. His Royal Majesty, the Oniru of Iruland, the President of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, ably represented by the incoming President, the Chairman of the Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, and please allow me to stand on all existing protocols. Everyone here present and those joining virtually, welcome to the Lagos Architects Forum 12.0. It is a huge honor to be speaking at this forum today. I'm Akin Olatunji Daniel. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Eventecture. Eventecture is an experiential design and build outfit that serves the events, retail, fashion, leisure, entertainment, and experiential marketing sectors. Beyond all that fancy language, though, I typically refer to myself as a glorified carpenter. So what does this carpenter have to say to this room full of well-established professionals and industry giants today? Well, I was born in Lagos. I grew up here and attended schools here mostly. I then attended the prestigious School of Architecture at the University of Lagos, where I received tutelage from some of the finest educators of our noble profession, some of whom are here today. Lagos, I can say, has always been my home. Growing up as a young boy in 1004 and Transit Village, just a stone throw from here, created a lot of long-lasting impressions on me. Now, driving along Ahmadu Bello Way, I dare say, Lagos has evolved dramatically over the last couple of decades. From the multi-story structures dotting the Lagos Island horizon to the new towns of Lekki and beyond, it's been an interesting cycle to watch unfold. The point I'm getting to, however, is this. Today is the future that was 25 years ago. How our built environment will be in the next 25 years will be determined by the steps we take collectively and individually today. As Robert Earl Peterson famously said, design creates culture. Culture shapes values. Values determine the future. The future of our built environment largely depends upon the quality of architects we produce today. That is why at Eventecture, we are very proud to be sponsors of the Student Design Competition at this year's Lagos Architect Forum. While we do what we can today, we must all remember that the future is already being crafted today. The quadratic leaps with such technologies as virtual reality, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, holograms, and other such new technology will in no small measure affect the way we think of spaces, design them, and implement these designs. Space, as we know it today, will be totally redefined, and we, as the custodians of space design, must be at the forefront of this evolution. As an organization, we pride ourselves on staying abreast with cutting-edge technology that informs our design decisions and influences our craft outputs. Even though we don't practice mainstream architecture, strictly speaking, we bring that same irrepressible spirit of design to everything we do. So, whether we're designing a conference stage set or a modular exhibition area, creating a themed village for a private event, or designing an unforgettable experience area for a brand, future-conscious design remains at the center of our philosophy. The environment is equally as important to us, as we must play our parts in bequeathing a green environment to the generations coming after us. This is why, as an organization where 60% of the work we do is temporary construction, we are particular about the use of materials and recycling as much as we can. Though still growing, Eventecture over the past decade has been able to stand out as a proudly Nigerian company with a global outlook and establish itself as the fastest growing event design company in Africa. In closing, I would encourage us all in our different capacities, just as that fine gentleman architect did for me those many years ago, to take the time to groom and mentor our young architects and students. The fate of our built environment in the next 25 years rests upon their shoulders. Thank you to architects Theo Lawson and Yemi Odende. Their mentorships played a significant role in shaping my understanding of design. I will leave you with these powerful words from the great British architect, Norman Foster. As an architect, you design for the present with an awareness for the past, for a future which is essentially unknown. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
I think we can do better than that for that very, very lovely presentation.
Just to quickly recognize these two dignitaries among us, and forgive me, Architect Dipo. That is the Lagos State ARCON rep, as immediate past PAMSEC of the Ministry of Physical Planning, Lagos State. And also representing the Commissioner for Transportation, that's in the person of Engineer Omogbolahan Toriola. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I have to be battling with these gadgets. I seize this opportunity to congratulate the chairman of Lagos Architects Chapter. The effort that has been put together over the years by the past chairman on these particular important exhibitions and forum to discuss issues. I'm always very delighted to be among the architects in Lagos State. And that one extends me to the KBAC. This is my second time that I will meet you on this occasion. I appreciate you over the years for the good things you have done. My fellow senior architects and my council members and NIA council, I appreciate everybody's effort over the years to bring unity to Architects Forum in Nigeria. I don't want to belabor you because we have a lot to do today. We have a lot to discuss. We are discussing all the time, and we are gaining ground in Nigeria. On that note, I can but read some notes to you from Architecture Regional Council of Nigeria. It's a message from them, and I can assure you I'm the errand boy that can deliver this message. That is why I'm reading at all. I feel a great pride and humble appreciation to be invited to this August gathering of eminent professional colleagues and other allied professions in the built environment gathered here to discuss various topical issues that will have a rebounding effect on how we carry out our businesses as architects within an emerging and dynamic society, particularly in a plural city like Lagos, a city we know symbolizes the embodiment of our country, Nigeria. I'm not totally surprised by the choice of the theme, but this year, LAV 21, the city of Lagos, the next 25 years. The ongoing within the built environment is a measure of the wealth and how best a people can use the available little resources. Architects should immensely consider the judicious usage of these resources within the context of other contending factors to bring about meaningful changes. I'm particularly delighted about the several sub-themes surrounding this year's theme, especially the businesses aspect, which I believe will be an eye-opener to participants here present. I'm fascinated by the guests of this forum to look at new ways of running architectural practice, taking into consideration the national and global glitches arising from the COVID-19 syndrome. The built environment was heavily affected by this syndrome, and how best the profession is able to react and adjust to these realities should be the goal of this forum. The COVID-19 phenomenon has come to stay with us, and we chart a new direction on how we carry out our businesses as architects during this period and beyond. So I challenge you and let us find a common ground and solution to the myriad of problems that are assailing our profession, the built environment, and make those projections that will address these challenges, not just in the next 25 years, but over our minds to several years beyond. It is highly expedient that we are proactive and avoid a situation where we do not plan adequately for the dynamic future ahead of us. As a regulatory body saddled with the purpose of regulating the training and practice of architectural profession in all ramifications in Nigeria, the Architect Regulation Council is committed to fashion a supportive environment that is consistent with global practices as we prepare to tackle our homegrown challenges in globalized social and environmental context. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, despite the challenges of our constantly emerging dynamism facing us, it is important not to lose sight of our enormous capacity for all-round progress when we bond together in one accord. Any people that desire true progress must first face the assiduous task of uniting themselves. There is no strength, there is strength in unity, and in unity we can grow. Moreover, it is our oneness that we can generously pool our resources together in making plans for a future with development purposes. Only united people can forge a common front for social, physical, and economic development. It is our wish that the actual family will bond together with unity of purpose, and as we attempt to play our roles in building a viable physical environment for society at large. And I believe that this forum should serve as a platform to promote this wish of mine. When you move alone, you achieve little. When you move with a team, you achieve a lot. On this note, I wish to thank the chairman and members of Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Architects for putting together this event despite harsh economic realities fostered on us by the COVID-19 pandemic. I wish you a fruitful and successful outcome of this year's forum. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, with a Master of Transport Planning degree from the prestigious Lagos State University, Ojo, he started his career with the Lagos State Ministry of Works and Planning in 1978, before going on to work as a town planner with the Dachi Work Group, where he became a partner in 1994. In 2004, he set up Toyin, Ayinde and Associates, a consulting urban planning firm. He was appointed by Mr. Babatunde Rajifashola, SAN, the former executive governor of Lagos State, as the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development from 2011 to 2015. He was elected President of the Association of Town Planning Consultants of Nigeria in June 2011, and is currently the National President of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, NITP. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Our speaker, keynote speaker for today, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde, who is joining us virtually. A round of applause for him, please. Oh, and also please be reminded that we're still expecting His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State. He'll be joining us shortly. While we're expecting, we also want to thank and appreciate His Royal Majesty, Oba Abdulwasiu, Omogbolahan, Lawal, Abisogun II, the Oniru of Iruland. Kabiesio, thank you for your patience, sir, for joining us. Over to our keynote speaker, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde.
The administration of the vibrant Lagos State chapter of NIA, led by Architect David Majekodunmi, with whom I have had cordial professional relationship since the year 2008. Let me seize this opportunity to congratulate the chapter, particularly those members who have continued to labor to ensure that the profession of architecture is still held in high esteem. I am aware that professionalism is operating under very adverse conditions in our nation, but we need to be hopeful that with more advocacy and persuasion, the situation will improve. I truly regret my inability to physically attend this year's Lagos Architects Forum. This is due to some pressing national assignments taking me to the southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria. Some things are better said face to face because it provides room for queries and clarity of certain statements that may be discussed to logical conclusion or to the point that we disagree to agree. I humbly accept the honor to share my thoughts on the theme through this video recording, which I hope you will find meaningful. The theme being explored this year is City of Lagos, the next 25 years, and I have been requested to examine the outlook on cityscape and master plan. I would rather talk of master plans because one plan is insufficient to cater for a city of Lagos that has gone beyond being a mega city to a meta city, a term coined in 2006 by the UN Habitat, when the term megacity, designated as cities of over 10 million people, became inadequate. A metacity is defined as massive sprawling conurbations of more than 20 million people. I cannot but view this topic against the background of the various challenges that we face in our nation today, ranging from security, deplorable infrastructure, agitations of self-determination, to a tottering economy. And I then imagine if we will have a nation called Nigeria in 25 years. And if we do, what will the city of Lagos look like then? In 25 years, I will be about 87. It's a little stressful living in Lagos right now, depending on the part of the city one lives in. Would I be able to survive so much stress at 87? Despite the ominous signs, we can choose to look on the brighter side and seek a city better than we have ever known. That will depend on the decisions we make today, on the plans we are willing to prepare, the resources we are willing to commit, and the discipline of implementation we are ready to exercise. In addressing this theme, a number of words jump at me, and those words will propel my views in discussing the theme. The words are city, human settlements, population, physical planning, professionalism, and governance. And I crave your indulgence to listen as I bear my mind, while I hope to end by leaving us with some parting questions that we should ponder on to evolve the ideal settlements that we seek. City. In his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey talks about putting people before things. He was simply focusing the reader's attention on the importance of life and living organisms, rather than on non-living things. When the word city is mentioned, I am easily reminded of one of the definitions of a town, that is a mini city, that we learned in the history of town planning while in the planning school. We were taught that a town is a living organism subject to an origin, growth, decline, and or death. In the history of human settlements, some cities found to disappear completely. Some have become desolate, while others, like Lagos, have grown beyond their physical boundaries. What will happen to the city depends entirely on human decisions. Many people in whose hands the administration of the city lies do not understand that the city is a living organism and that it has a soul or core from where various dynamics are generated. It runs on system basis, and those systems are interconnected. Like other living organisms, it has a circulatory system, a nervous system, a digestive, excretory system, a production and reproduction system, and other systems represented by the form and activities taking place which affect communication network, solid waste management, and so on. Like one system in the human body cannot be treated at the expense of another, so can a system in a city not be treated in isolation from others. The city is not a thing, it is a living organism. That is why it is criminal and indeed suicidal to think that planning the city is about subdivision of land or building plan approvals. When city managers realize that the city comprises a set of interwoven systems that need to work in a kind of rhythm, they will demonstrate due diligence, making informed decisions. This is why policies need to be thought through to ensure that they truly bring to reality the results that they are meant to produce. There is more to a city than physical appearance. Physical prosperity highly depends on soul prosperity, and that is what must be pursued always. Human settlements. When the word city is mentioned, our reasoning must go beyond a physical entity to the fact that it is a human settlement. What's the use of a city without the human element? Every human settlement is populated by people. With people come various needs. The need for food, that is agricultural products and productivity. The need for clothing, textiles. The need for shelter, housing. The need for intellectual development, education. The need for work, industrial, commercial, and administrative roles. The need for wellness, health institutions. The need for recreation, open spaces. The need for fellowship and meditation, which is religious. The need for a final place of rest, cemeteries. The need for conservation, preservation. The need to connect all of this together through transportation and communication, amongst various other needs. Oftentimes, needs vary from one person to the other, from one corporate body to another, from one group to the other, and these form the basis of conflicts of interests that are experienced from time to time. Resolving the conflicts arising from the clashes of interest, which are mostly genuine, is the calling of professionals in the construction industry sector, particularly urban managers. This is where most times decisions have to be made between what is lawful and what is expedient, and to discern the difference between privileges and rights. The knowledge of these dynamics are important to those who have been charged with administering our cities, particularly the political leadership, because they play a major role in making decisions and allocating resources that affect not just things, but human beings and their destinies. Population. Human settlements imply population, and one major characteristic of population is that it grows, it increases. City administrators and stakeholders must understand this and know how to manage conflicts arising from such increases on limited, fixed, and scarce land resources. Population increase spells more demand for employment, housing, education, social and physical infrastructure, and so on. When resources, particularly land, are fixed, but the demanding population is on increase, only planning, physical planning, can resolve the multifaceted demands and interests. Throw a bone to a dog, there will be no problem. Throw the same bone to two dogs, a struggle starts. Throw that bone to 4 or more dogs, the dogs will first go after one another in aggression. The end result can only be imagined. I'm sure we can relate this scenario to what Nigeria is going through now. Planning, therefore, physical planning, is indispensable. Political appointees must come to the knowledge that every political promise, economic planning, and budget pronouncements can only be realized on ground, and therefore they need to plan. We either plan or we perish, and I say this with all sense of responsibility. Other issues that will rear their heads include gender issues and youth bulge. These are critical concepts in thinking about the future, which we need to acknowledge to help us understand the emerging patterns in human settlements development. Physical planning. Ordered development is achieved only through planning and following through to ensure the implementation of the plans. The sequence in organized cities and communities is that planning precedes development. Anytime development precedes planning, as it happens in our climate, the result can only be chaos. The relationship between planning and development is similar to that between thinking and speaking. The sequence is that one thinks before one speaks. The good book says, "Do you see a man who speaks before he thinks? There is more hope for a fool than for him." Governance. Human societies are organized for administration, growth, and development through the instrument of government. The responsibility for the provision of security, social and public infrastructure has always lain with government. Where government is proactive, systems run smoothly. Where government slacks, it usually ends in deplorable conditions. The pursuit and subsequent realization of the Sustainable Development Goals, Agenda 2030, particularly Goal 11, which is building sustainable cities and communities, rely on having responsible governments at all levels, and they need to move from government to governance. All of the goals will be unattainable without good governance. Professionalism doesn't thrive in the absence of good governance. In fact, every failure of professionalism can be linked to bad governance. When merit is sacrificed, righteousness subdued, greed promoted, avarice exalted, nepotism, ethnicity, and religion playing prominent roles in taking critical decisions, the future can only be bleak. I am inclined to ask if the city of Lagos that we seek can survive this. In developed economies, where governments take leadership in providing basic needs, for example, housing, individuals don't go buying land, buying cement, sand, and aggregate to start building their own private homes in piecemeal, that is incrementally, and over long periods. Where, on the other hand, government adopts a laissez-faire approach, like in our climate, individuals resort to self-help, knowing that no one will cater for their needs. Individuals build their own houses, make provision for their own water supply, security, electricity, and so on. Where the professional in the developed economies deals with representatives of government agencies, private corporations, and cooperatives, their Nigerian counterpart is confronted with thousands of applicants, each trying to help themselves. Faced with the bottlenecks, there's room for financial inducements to get accelerated attention. And the beat goes on. Going forward, there's an urgent need for stakeholders to meet, to discuss the future of the city of Lagos, and as well, many other cities and communities. The city of Lagos in the next 25 years will probably be playing host to 40 million population or more. On which land will those 40 million people reside? Where will they work? What sort of transportation systems will connect people and places? Would every millimeter square be occupied with bungalow and low-rise buildings? Or would we need to go high-rise only so that we can make more land available for landscaping and open spaces, as well as other needs? What would be the cultural disposition to such phenomenal changes required to make the city functional? We are in for a long haul of regeneration, and the conversation must begin now. Let's quit the jokes of housing estates and plots of land that promise incentives of ramps and holiday trips. Whoever is accommodating these concepts cannot be thinking of Lagos, and indeed the whole of Nigeria, in the next 25 years. In conclusion, I do hope that I haven't rustled some feathers, and maybe I have rustled some in the course of this delivery, but I sincerely hope that this conversation continues beyond this place, as I wish this year's forum attendees successful deliberations. I thank the NIA Lagos State Chapter once again for this privilege, and I thank you all for listening. Enjoy LAF 2020. 2021.
I'd like to invite all of us to please stand as we welcome His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. A round of applause for His Excellency. You're welcome, Your Excellency. Thank you for honoring us. Please, may we remain standing until His Excellency takes his seat. Thank you. Okay, please, DJ, can we have the national anthem once again? Thank you. May we be seated. Just before His Excellency arrived, we took the keynote speech for this opening ceremony, which was a very loaded speech. I'm sure His Excellency will be furnished with the details of that speech later. We will now move on to the next program on our agenda, which is product presentation by West African Ceramics Limited. To say, please come forward. As he comes, I would like to invite the Lagos State Chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Architect David Majekodunmi, MNIA, to please come and say a few words about this company. Welcome, sir. A round of applause, please.
Yes, Mr. MC, thank you for giving me the honor. Your Excellency, you're welcome. Yes, I need to introduce Real Ceramic. Real Ceramic has been a major supporter of the chapter from my inception as the chairman. And not only that, at least for all the events that we have for the next 2 years, Real Ceramic has paid for it as a main sponsor. So Shaktin is good to have to do business with you. I've been doing business with you for the past 12 years, but I'm glad that I brought it into the chapter. Thank you very much. So go ahead for your presentation, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. His Excellency, Executive Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, His Highness, I greet you, sir, standing on existing protocols. My name is Shakti Mohanty. I represent Royal Ceramic, or otherwise known as West African Ceramic, which from its inception in 1995, from the humble beginnings of producing 3,000 square meter a day of 4-inch by 4-inch tiles, till now we are producing full slab engineered marble in this country, which is 2.4 meter into 1.8 meter of that size. It's been a great journey. Many of the esteemed architects have been using our products. I see on the front line, many of them have been patronizing me and our product since over the years, especially ma'am here and sir over there. So thank you for your patronage, and I promise that along with the technical presentation, which I will go through briefly and not waste a lot of time, but I will share the details of our investment for the future, because I think Nigeria itself, whatever churnout it is going through, social or otherwise, but it is ready for the next level of investment and growth. That I firmly believe, and many companies, many of the corporates, they know it from inside, that it is ready for the next level of growth. So we are all planning towards it, and we are all preparing for it. So I will also share a snippet at the end of it, what we are planning in the next 10 years to come up with. So just to give a brief introduction, ma'am, hello ma'am. Can you, excuse me? The other slide, please. Royal 3.1. Okay. Till they find the correct slide. We started in the year 1995 on Kaduna Road, which is outskirts of Abuja, Niger State. At that time, the diesel price, I think they said 3.6 naira per liter in 1994 when we laid the foundation. So all our machineries were fired through diesel engine, including power. Diesel was that cheap. So there we started with some imported and some refurbished machinery from Britain, from UK. We were producing, only highest size of tiles that we were producing was 6 inch by 6 inch, along with the sanitary ware, the toilet seats and the wash basins. From then till 2009, we continued our factory in Suleja before we moved to Ajayi, because diesel prices started increasing, and gas that time was the incoming cheapest source of firing machines and generators. So in 2009 we moved to Ajayi, Kogi State. We set up a factory of, first factory line was 7,000 square meter per day. Now over the years, in next 8 years or 10 years, we added 4 lines. Now we are producing 33,000 square meter per day. In next 10 years, we are coming up with 4 more factories, and this time we have distributed the locations. One in the outskirts of Lagos, we are coming up with a 15,000 square meter plant. One in close to Akwa Ibom, close to Uyo, we are coming up with a 10,000 square meter plant. One, we are coming up in north, that is Zaria, from Zaria to Kano Expressway, where the new AKK pipeline is being laid. We are coming up with another 10,000 square meter plant. So geopolitically also we have divided our future plans so that we can cater to all the regions without any region suffering from transportation cost. As you see, natural gas is one of the key resources for input material for our production, because not only it fires the machineries, but also it fires the generators which generate power, because we all industries, they like producing, they rely on IGPs, internally generated powers, which is the key source of generating power for industries. Like right now we have a 12 megawatt power plant inside our factory. Please, can you go to the next slide, please? Excuse me. Slide, please. Okay. Next slide. Next. Yeah. One of the basic features is Not even a single tiles, porcelain or ceramic or vitrified, any of them, or the engineered marble we produce are not imported. Every single tiles and marble and the engineered stones and granite is produced here locally in Nigeria. The only input raw material that is imported is the glazes, which consists of 5 to 7% of our production. And also, as I speak, there are 2,100 Nigerian workers working in our factories, in all our factories. Next, please. For the interest of architects, I will quickly go through the difference when they choose. What is the difference between a ceramic tile, vitrified tile and porcelain tiles, and how to, what is the usability of that? The basic difference is ceramic tile is a glazed tile on the surface which undergoes a lower firing temperature at 1150 degrees. It is a less stronger tiles. The water absorption is higher. So for the okay, thank you. So what happens is ceramic tiles is usually used in higher water absorption area like bathroom walls, bathroom floors, because the cement, as it goes, as the water touches it, the bonding strength of the tiles with the cement increases, so it stays for a longer time. Also, in older times when the vitrified and porcelain technology was not introduced, basically we used to use ceramic tiles. As I said, the water absorption of porcelain, vitrified and ceramic tiles. You can see the water absorption of less than 0.5% is porcelain tiles, whereas water absorption between 0.5 to 3% is vitrified tiles, whereas 3 to 6% or 6% and above, we call it semi-porous, semi-vitrified or ceramic tiles. I have illustrated the difference. I can share the slide. I want to save time because His Excellency has other works to do. Application of vitrified tiles. Always remember, in high traffic areas, we will use full body vitrified tiles. Those are the best tiles to be used in high traffic areas. Monocolor full body vitrified tiles are recommended for high traffic areas. Whereas when you go to inside houses or living rooms or bedroom, depending on your budget and strength, you can use porcelain tiles, porcelain finishes, whether glazed or unglazed. But it should be inside the houses or offices, in closed areas. Whereas when it comes to ceramic, nowadays ceramic tiles are mostly used only in bathrooms and kitchens, because the advent of the technology of porcelain and vitrified have taken over the ceramic. This is a full illustration of from raw material batching to packing unit, which I can share with you later. Various sizes of tiles that are available with us: 60 by 60, 80 by 80, 60 by 120, all in cm, then 40 by 40, 30 by 30, 25 by 40 and 40 by 80. We will also come up with, one of our factories that we are building in Ajayi will come up with slabs, only with slabs. Slab size can be from 800 to 1.6 meter for porcelain tiles. As I said, there are various types of tiles: full body vitrified, double charged, vitrified floor, GVT, glazed vitrified tiles, mostly used for indoors and office spaces and houses and residences. Nanotechnology for residences mostly, nano-coated tiles. Then semi-vitrified and porous, ceramic. This is a full technical data. Nowadays, architects ask for technical data, and big projects, even LSDBC projects, they ask for technical data. So we have a full technical chart to show it for them. There are few considerations while buying tiles. I told you strength, rectangularity, whether the tiles is square or not. So all our vitrified and porcelain tiles are rectangular. They are squared in automated laser cutting machines. So you'll get equal sizes. Then water absorption. Water absorption is key to the strength of the tiles. Higher water absorption, then lower the strength. Whether it is matte or polished, that architects, they know where to use matte surface and polished surface, and which one is scratch resistant. Like rustic tiles are normally scratch resistant. Apart from tiles, we also, as I mentioned, produce engineered marbles and granite. All our mines are based in Nigeria. We extract granites and engineered marbles and quartz, then produce engineered stones, big size engineered stones in our factories in Nigeria, here in Ajayi itself. And nowadays, the demand for natural granite, imported natural granite from outside has decreased because of the launch of these engineered stones. People are getting, for their kitchen tops, steps, they get these stones at half the price or 1/3 the price that they get from imported granites. So it's a very cost-effective solution with various color ranges. Now we have 30 color ranges for the granites. So few of the advantages. Along with that, we also produce grout, that color resistance and water resistant grout, and adhesive, that is tile gum. Packaging types are mentioned. I can share all this presentation and leave it with NIA Lagos chapter to be shared with the discerning architect. Once again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Before I finish my speech, I will like to especially thank the chairman, Architect David. He is not only the chapter chairman, but he is a long-time associate and an elder brother for me. He's the one who handled and introduced my products in Lagos when nobody knew what Royal Ceramic was about 5 years back. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I'd like to, at this juncture, invite His Royal Majesty Oba Abdulwasiu Omogbolahan Lawal Abisogun II, the Oniru of Iruland, to give us his goodwill remarks. Kabiesio.
The Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. Good afternoon, sir. The Chairman of Nigerian Institute of Architects, Lagos Chapter, Architect David Majekodunmi. The President of the same institute, Honorable Commissioners and ESCO members here present, body of the permanent secretaries here present, especially my very own permanent secretary. When I was commissioner for housing, he was my permanent secretary, Architect Folusho Adebayo Dipo. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to be here today and to be given the opportunity to share my thoughts on this year's LAF 12.0 with the theme, The City of Lagos, the Next 25 Years. At this occasion of the annual Lagos Architect Forum, and to be able to share with you my thoughts on what I believe should be the role of the architect in the city, and to some extent, other professionals in the built environment in the post-pandemic era and for the next couple of decades. To start with, I've always been intrigued by the way the built environment is developed and evolves, and even more so by the people who make the decisions that result in the environment that we all live in. or should I say, have to live with. As a former commissioner of housing in this state, I've had the opportunity to interact with many professionals in the built environment, and I've had discussions and exchanged ideas about the intentional steps that could be taken to make our cities work better for its inhabitants. So I've chosen to speak to a subject that I've themed from space to place, making our city work for all its inhabitants. Mr. Governor and some of my former colleagues here can attest to the fact that I've always been passionate about space and how to transform the space to a place. The world is undergoing massive urbanization at an unprecedented rate, and Africa is not exempted. According to the World Bank, for the first time in history, more than half the world's people live in cities, and over 90% of urban growth is occurring in the developing world, adding an estimated 70 million new residents to urban areas each year. During the next 2 decades, the urban population of sub-Saharan Africa is expected to double. A report by Jesna puts it in some perspective. By 2050, we will need to build a city the size of London every month. For the next 400 months to accommodate the increasing global urban population growth. The guest speaker spoke to this, and I think I alluded to that fact. Talking about our beloved city, Lagos. This city is one of the few in the world in a phenomenon called hyper-urbanization, with its attendant problems including micro and macro slum development, crippling traffic congestion, and waste collection difficulties. This raises the critical question that I hope this forum will answer. What kind of city should we be making? And having answered this, how should we go about making it? There is no doubt that the answer to these questions requires some deep thoughts and engagement. But in my opinion, it starts with the primary building blocks of a city. The communities that connect together make the city. The communities, in whatever economic strata they may be, are the foundation from which cities thrive. It therefore starts from how we engineer the spaces and design the places within our communities, and directly how the inhabitants interact and relate with this. One of the things that has become abundantly clear, particularly about the Global Health episode that started at the end of 2019, is the important role public awareness of health plays in urban communities. It has become clearer that safer infrastructure and more open space are essential. My contribution today must not sound like a speech or even a thesis, so I would like to speak directly to how I believe we can ensure our city thrives when we design places that are connected, resilient, healthy, and inspiring. A city is all about connection, and fostering connectivity is not only about transportation and communication. At the heart of it is access, how people are connected to their immediate environment, to green spaces and public spaces that enable cultural and civic engagement. It seems to me that designers, more effort has to be put in making places for people beyond their homes and work. There is sufficient evidence to support the fact that increased connectivity reduces the tension between groups in communities, establishes a sense of belonging, and makes communities more dynamic and vibrant. To not mention designing healthy communities is to pretend that the pandemic did not expose some of the shortcomings in the design of the built environment across the world. Public health and design of cities are inseparably interwoven. The way we build our communities has a profound effect on physical and mental health. Healthy communities ensure residents benefit from access to education, housing, jobs, the ability to live without fear of violence, freedom from environmental hazards, and meaningful built environment. Creating healthy communities is intentional. I'm always intrigued by the fact that the 130-hectare Hyde Park in London is not on the outskirts of the city, but in the city center, on a patch of some most expensive real estate in the world. Yet, that park exists. The reason I will touch briefly on the subject resilience is because I understand that communities are unable to adapt to change and quickly recover from environmental, social, economic shifts that will not survive. This suggests that designers must seriously consider the factors that impede or improve resilience. According to UN, 70% of greenhouse gases come from transportation and cooling effects. What are the low-tech strategies that can counter this? I'm personally committed to transforming Iru Kingdom into an urban green lung. Do we know that one tree removes 8 cubic meters of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in a year? The equivalent of 11,000 miles of car emission. So why is tree planting and landscaping not of the same importance as thermal control and other comfort factors in design? You see us planning for air-conditioned room, you see us air-conditioned space and the rest of it. But we don't make provision for the green space. Can we really speak about resilience when we give more importance to vehicular networks than pedestrian and low-carbon means of transportation? I'm happy the Honorable Commissioner, the Special Advisor works is here. Where our entire neighborhood still being designed without exclusive pedestrianization and extensive public spaces. Lagos started this, but you need to move closer to the communities. Do we understand that investing in public spaces in the city is not only good for the community, but it's good for business and for the residents? I pose these questions only because we must challenge the norm and determine the city we work for its inhabitants and not the other way around. Cities have to inspire. In the world's most livable cities, art and culture blend with business, retail, entertainment, and residential districts to create desirable places to live, work, and play. These cities inspire and connect inhabitants and promote the healthy lifestyle that make places where people enjoy spending time and achieving prosperity. Lagos is a magnet city. People are drawn here by desire to belong, engage, hustle, make it, blow. Investing in public space matters a great deal. Public outdoor places are instrumental in creating community. I may not end this without sharing some of the work we have started to do since I became the Oniru of Iru Kingdom. In the last 11 months, we have developed what we call #legit vision, which literally means let's grow Iruland together. This is a vision that seeks to evolve Iru into a sustainable city with a truly resilient people, and to achieve this, I've spent the past year engaging with groups of stakeholders within and outside our community in order to ensure that we focus on sustaining the relationships that make cities viable. And that we spend the next couple of decades implementing projects that demonstrate how some of the principles I have espoused here work. In order to create livable communities that produce better outcomes for all, we have answers to the questions. What does Iru Kingdom want? What does Iru Kingdom want to be known for or as? It started with several months of data gathering. We have information about almost every relevant planning indices and metrics across the kingdom. While putting together our kingdom vision document, the building of a compact, complete community, We have commenced pilot projects around greening and environment through a tree planting campaign I initiated in September 2020. The development of a holistic master plan is therefore our next critical milestone. Mr. Governor, distinguished guests, finally, I believe strongly that it is possible to create a better world through the power of design. It starts with a focus on people and the places and spaces they occupy every day. Human-centric design. Design solutions that prioritize human experience. Through this lens, we can reimagine the future of our cities. So perhaps my question should not be what kind of city should we be making, but what kind of people do we want to be? Distinguished guests, thank you for your attention. Mr. Governor, sir, thank you.
The next person that I'm going to invite was the Honorary General Secretary of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Lagos State Chapter. She was also the past chairman, she's a past chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Lagos State Chapter. She's also a member of the Physical Planning Appeals Committee of Lagos State Government. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the podium Architect Abimbola Ajayi, FNIA, as she takes us through the next proceedings.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, Honorable Fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. Am I correct, sir? Thank you, sir. Your Royal Highness, sir, I greet you, Kabiyesi. My President, my Chairman, I wish to stand on existing protocol. I've been given a very difficult task of introducing somebody that he has been dynamic. I met him in 2008. I don't know if he remembers. We served on a same committee, technical committee, policy reform. Yes, he remembers. And we worked hard. He's always had a passion for the state, both politically, economically, because I know he worked in the bank as well. And he has grown, you know, through the ranks. And today, he is still as energetic, as committed, as loyal, as strong as he was when I met him. That's about 13 years now, sir. I want to introduce to you our governor, executive governor of Lagos State. He has honored us this morning by being a part of this ceremony. And we thank you, sir. We really, really thank you. We've had this program for 12 years, and even though we've been friendly with governors of Lagos State, every governor is our friend. We know them, you know. But His Excellency is the first that would actually honor us physically. Physically. He's a good man. Just give me 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds, sir. 30 more seconds. Please help me to greet him and thank him. And also, I may be breaching protocol here. Please, if I do, forgive me. I had to go through a childhood friend. All of us grew up in Surulere, even governor himself. My childhood friend. We went to the same primary school. We went to the same secondary school. But by the time we entered university, we were in the same university, but one went into engineering, the other into architecture. She was very key. I had to beg her, please. I know that governor he's very busy. He's very, very busy. I know he has a zillion things to do today, but please, he should just honor us. Because all of us are from the same stock. We have the same desire to ensure that Lagos State is where it is supposed to be. So I want to thank Engineer Aramide Adeyoye. She really helped me. I want to thank you. I'm sorry if I break protocol, sir. Thank you very much. So I want to welcome our governor, His Excellency, Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, a fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Architect Ajayi, she deserves a round of applause as well. Members of the State Executive Council here, they've introduced the Special Advisor on Works and Infrastructure, Engineer Aramide, who I will talk about very shortly. But we also have the Honorable Commissioner for Science and Tech here, Mr. Akim Pham. Thank you very much. Permanent Secretary, especially Architect Odusonya, and retired but not tired Architect Dipo, a former Permanent Secretary also in Housing and Fiscal Planning. His Royal Majesty